Yu is a loser who promised to his dying mother that he will create a happy family. However, after she passed out, he is forced to live with the 3 most popular baddies, so he has no other choice but to rizz them up and make them his new family. We start on his first day at Saika Academy, a prestigious institution where gifted students refine their unique abilities. But on that day, Yu finds himself getting absolutely destroyed by the vice captain of the martial arts club while the entire school watches. The vice captain mocks Yu, calling him a weakling and a disgrace, and the crowd mocks him for failing to live up to the legacy of his mother, Subaru, one of the world's greatest actors. But Yu snaps and demands that people stop comparing him to his mother. With all his might, he threw a punch. The other students waited to see if Yu could fight back, but it ended up looking like a kitten against a nitrogen bomb. The students watch with disgust, whispering about how pathetic the son of the great Subaru has turned out to be. But Yu was used to people's expectations, as he's been living in his mother's shadow for as long as he can remember. Then Yu gets up and ends the fight, but before he can leave, the vice captain grabs him, determined to beat the greatness into him. In that instant, he's kicked aside by none other than the club president and one of the 3 royals, Nico, the Academy's strongest martial artist. The audience gasps as the remaining royals arrive as well: Miwa, the shogi prodigy, and Kazuki, the most celebrated actor in the art department. Yu freezes in place, overwhelmed by their sudden appearance. Kazuki steps forward, assessing him with cold eyes, and when she learns that he possesses no apparent talent, she bluntly declares that someone like him doesn't belong in a school full of talents. Confused, Yu shows them his acceptance letter to the General Education Department. The royals exchange puzzled looks, as none of them even knew such a program existed, having spent their entire lives among the elite. Feeling their rejection, Yu tries to leave for his assigned class, but Nico stops him and orders him to clean the dojo. Later, when the martial arts team returns, they are stunned to find the dojo spotless. Meanwhile, Yu walks to his new home, his thoughts heavy with reflection. Ever since childhood, he's longed for the same recognition his mother received. He once believed he could match her brilliance, training hard and acting until he felt confident in his progress, only to realize that while he was performing at a rookie level, his mother was operating at Oscar-winning levels of mastery. From that moment, he saw the gap between them, but he kept trying in countless other things, only to fail again and again, drifting further away from her each time. Then came the day Subaru fell gravely ill. In the hospital, Yu realized how distant he'd grown from the only family he had left. During her final days, she kept rewatching one of her old film series where she played a loving mother in a happy family. When Yu commented that he liked that show, Subaru smiled softly and said she loved it too. She asked what he liked most about it, and he told her it was the dinner scenes. Subaru agreed, saying those moments were her favorite as well. That's when it hit him that, despite all her fame and success, what she truly desired was a real family like the one in her movies. Before Yu could give her that happiness, she passed away, leaving behind a final note with her wish for him to one day have a family of his own. Though he doesn't yet know how to make that dream come true, Yu vows to honor it. When he finally arrives at his new residence, he is in awe. Before him stands a massive, breathtaking mansion he now calls home. But he suddenly gets a kick to the head. Nico pops up, wrapped in a towel, mistaking him for an intruder. He tries to explain, but Nico doesn't want to hear it. She tries to drag him out, but slips and falls to the floor like it's a start of a gooning video.
Yeah, boy.
Yu crouches in front of her, teasing her with a smug smile before helping to dry her hair. Just then, Kazuki and Miwa enter the room, and Yu is shocked to see the top students living in the same house. At that exact moment, he gets a call from his foster parent, who explains that he has taken Yu in to carry on Subaru ISC's legacy. Then he mentions his daughters, and says that from now on, Yu will be living with them.
Oh my god! Wow!
All 4 of them scream in surprise at the sudden revelation. For Yu, this is like a dream come true for any harem fan, but the reality is closer to a demon's den. None of the girls accepts him, but they can't throw him out either. Still, Yu doesn't back down. He stands up and reintroduces himself. When he goes to grab his luggage, he steps on a black fabric that Kazuki immediately yanks away and hides. That's when Yu realizes the house is more of a junkyard than a home, with dirty clothes and garbage piles everywhere. The girls don't like that Yu notices their flaws, so they tease him for being stupid in class while they're the top students. Meanwhile, Yu quietly cleans the house. When he finishes, the girls are stunned by how spotless it looks, and Yu proudly says he can do this every day. The girls blush instantly when he says that with his pretty face, warning themselves not to fall for his charm. The next day is the weekend, and Yu wakes up, hoping for a peaceful morning, but he hears Nico already kicking a punching bag and breaking bricks. In the living room, Miwa is furiously practicing shogi against an AI, while in the kitchen, Kazuki is making her morning smoothie. She tells Yu to stay inside because the girls are going out. Yu understands, but asks if they want to at least have breakfast together. Coldly, Kazuki says no, as she will be late. Miwa, on the other hand, eats all the sweets for breakfast, and Yu wants to stop her, but seeing how focused she is, he lets her be. It reminds him of his mother, with how she and these girls are the same, too busy chasing their goals to enjoy the little things. So Yu makes breakfast for himself using the leftovers in the fridge. When Nico finishes training, she's surprised to see food on the table. Yu offers her some, but her pride makes her refuse, claiming that the food isn't balanced for her diet. counting every nutrient on the plate like part of her training. That moment reminds Yu again of his mother, who used to diet for her roles, so focused on her goals that she forgot to enjoy life. When the girls are ready to go out, Yu stops them and simply bids them goodbye. The girls freeze for a moment, stunned by those simple words. Then they walk away, with all of them secretly blushing. Later, Yu gets another call from their father, who says that he's rarely home, so he needs Yu's help with the girls, and maybe over time, they'll finally open up to him. What the father means by help is that Kazuki will face a tough audition, Nico will join the competition to defend her championship title, and Miwa will participate in the national shogi tournament. Those moments might help Yu get along with them. When the call ends, Yu wonders if the girls really need his help. Since he is bad at academics and sports, he ends up being more like a house husband instead. But thinking about the girls failing in their own fields is frightening, and he remembers the disappointed looks people give him before. To prevent that from happening again, all he can do is what he is best at, which is cooking. The first person who notices Yu in the kitchen is Nico. She has forgotten how annoyingly attractive his pretty face is. Yu asks her to taste the food, but Nico immediately says no and goes straight to the bath. When she is done, she is surprised to see Yu completely fired up, using every cooking method he knows just to make food that suits the girls' taste, and even Miwa is surprised to see his dedication. Nico remembers that ever since they are young, she has always controlled her diet, but seeing how serious Yu is earlier makes her curious. So she sneaks out to check what he is doing this time, and she is surprised to see a full-course meal perfectly designed for an athlete. Yu looks like a food maniac as he explains all the nutrients in those dishes, trying to convince Nico to believe in him. That dedication breaks Nico's wall, and she finally agrees to try the food, which she ends up liking. The second one to fall is Miwa, who can't escape Yu's enthusiastic explanation about the food he makes to help her brain function. As Miwa sits at the table chatting about simple things with Nico, Yu feels genuinely happy. Then Kazuki walks in, and Yu has prepared food that will help improve her skin. But she doesn't take the bait and leaves instead. Nico notices the disappointment on Yu's face, so she immediately takes the plate and eats Kazuki's portion. Yu warns her about the fat she'll gain from that, but then smiles again, saying he will keep doing his best to do the right thing, and that smile instantly turns Nico's face red. The next day, Yu is busy planning how to make Kazuki like his cooking, so he decides to approach her first. In the hallway, Kazuki is surrounded by her fans when Yu suddenly calls out to her. Kazuki shoos him away, but Yu mentions how much effort he has put into making her satisfied, which makes the fans misunderstand and think the two have something spicy going on. Kazuki gets furious and tells him she'll punish him at home, which only further fuels the misunderstanding, and Yu runs away in panic. He runs straight to Nico, who is training with the karate club, but Nico is still affected by Yu's charm. Annoyed, she unleashes her inner demons to drive him away. His last option is to see Miwa, and in class, Miwa doesn't fit in with the other girls. Yu sees how quiet she is, even though she is so expressive at home, so he comes up with an idea to have lunch together. Miwa doesn't want Yu to see her like that and runs away, but Yu is just as stubborn, so the two end up running around the school like kids playing tag until they run out of breath. Yu mentions how quiet Miwa is in class earlier, and she says she can never relate to others. Yu sits beside her and says he understands that feeling of being left out because everyone likes his looks but is disappointed by his stupidity. Miwa drops her head at the similarity between them, but admits Yu's situation is worse. Yu stumbles over his own words, still trying to explain how hard it is to talk to others because of feeling left out and all. He sounds stupid, but Miwa can't help but smile. In the end, they have sandwiches for lunch, and Yu tells Miwa about his concern for Kazuki. Miwa said that when Kazuki was 3 years old, she once asked their mother to cook something for her, and that memory has stayed with her ever since. Yu gets goosebumps at how strong Miwa's memory is, but because of that, he realizes he is on the right track, and that Kazuki must want her mother's cooking again. While Yu is trying to figure that out in the kitchen, Kazuki walks in and suddenly collapses. Yu brings her vegetable porridge, but Kazuki pushes everyone away. She is exhausted from training for her new theater project, and Yu believes that with good rest and good food, she will recover. But she rejects 3 dishes he has prepared, which burns his ego to the bone. Yu slams the door open, insisting that she eat something, but Kazuki stands up and yells back. Suddenly, she falls on top of Yu, and she tries to shove him away, but Yu refuses to back down. He says he will give her the vitamins, but he will also help her practice. Kazuki doubts his confidence until Yu says he debuted when he was 2, while Kazuki debuts at 6. So Kazuki lets him try to read the princess's line, but Yu crushes her expectations in the very first second when he starts acting like the Rock, so Kazuki throws him out of her room instantly. However, even if he fails every time, he still wants to try, and for the next few days, he keeps trying. Kazuki grows stressed over Yu's stubbornness, who doesn't understand what it takes to be an actor. She, on the other hand, can't afford to fail under everyone's expectations. Lying in bed doing nothing feels pathetic, so she gets up and leaves her room, only to find Yu still practicing how to act. Seeing that, Kazuki admits his hard work, even if it is not perfect, so she decides to let him read the lines again the next morning, but it still sucks, and Kazuki tries to play along, but that's when Yu suddenly delivers a line naturally. Both of them are surprised that Yu manages to say one line right, and he cries out in joy. Seeing him cry like that reminds Kazuki of the time when she loved acting, and she wishes she could feel that way again. In the end, Kazuki gives in and tells Yu she will eat his food. Yu is so happy and ready to cook something for her, but then Kazuki says she has one request, which is no carrots and a few other vegetables she doesn't like. In the end, he realizes that Kazuki is just a picky eater who doesn't want to admit it. And so, the food is made, and Kazuki's appearance at the dining table makes the other sisters gag in surprise. It is hard like dealing with kittens, but Yu manages to get all three of them to sit together. However, all three have to go out that night, so there will be no dinner together. Once again, their habits remind Yu of his mother, always busy with her career. But then, he remembers her last request, for Yu to have a happy family. So Yu watches the series again, the one with his mother in it. He learns about family from it, and about his mother's dream, even if it is difficult with the people he has to live with, the Mikadono sisters. When they get back home, they are surprised to see Yu sniffling while watching the drama. Kazuki thinks it is because Yu misses his mother since she is the main character. Trying to be kind, she says Yu doesn't have to push himself to do the chores every day. Miwa agrees, while Nico adds that Yu needs to relax and that a stranger shouldn't work for them. Yu immediately gets mad at Nico, and he doesn't like the way she thinks of him. He has once been distant from his mother, and now it is too late. This time, he wants to have a real family, and he will make that happen with this one. Hearing that, all three sisters are stunned, thinking that this dude is going to marry all three of them like an anime protagonist. But what Yu really means is being siblings. He even asks Nico's birth date since they are the same age, but that question pisses the girls off, and they leave Yu with his short-circuited brain. Later, while soaking in the hot tub, Nico can't stop thinking about how Yu isn't affected by them at all. Then, she hears Yu scream from the kitchen and rushes out, only to find him crying over the empty bread bag. Nico quickly turns around to head back to the bathroom but bumps into Miwa, who asks why she is blushing when she hasn't been in the tub long. She suspects that it has something to do with Yu, but Nico immediately denies it awkwardly. Just then, Yu hands clean clothes to Miwa, but when their hands touch, Miwa flinches as if she's been shocked. The clothes fall to the floor and she scolds Yu to pick them up again. Seeing that, Nico decides to test her sister, and she asks if Miwa also secretly likes Yu. Miwa catches the word also, which means Nico likes Yu too. That gives Miwa the perfect chance to tease her. At that moment, Kazuki walks in and scolds her sisters to stop fighting. Then Yu asks Kazuki for help to put the pot on the top shelf. She gladly does so, and when Yu thanks her with his pretty face, it shoots straight to her heart. The other sisters notice the flustered look Kazuki tries to hide, and now they all know the situation they are in. The main cause of their tension suddenly scolds them to stop fighting, saying he doesn't even know why they are arguing like that. His words immediately freeze the girls. They glare at him with deathly eyes and tell him to shut up before leaving. The living room is left in a mess, and Yu can only hold back his frustration as he cleans up. Then he finds a picture of the girls when they were little, so cute and innocent. He wonders how time can turn three little angels into three huge demons. But more importantly, he wonders who the photo belonged to. When Yu asks the girls, none of them admit it, and he knows that one of them is lying, and the liar must still cherish that picture. To fulfill his dream of having a family, Yu realizes that what matters isn't just what he wants, but what the girls need too. So he decides to help them get closer again. The next morning, the girls announce that they all have competitions and shows scheduled on the same day, and out of town. Yu gets stressed trying to figure out how to bring them together, but when he checks their schedules, he finally finds a chance. Before they leave home, Yu tells them he has already booked a hotel room for them, and since they'll be away, he hopes they will enjoy this small vacation. But Miwa complains that the food won't taste the same, and Yu catches that and teases them about liking his cooking more than the hotels. On the main day, Miwa wins her competition without giving her opponent any chance, as always. The organizers congratulate her and warn that her next match will be tougher. As she returns to the hotel, she thinks about practicing, but on her way, she notices a banner for the Sakura Festival. It reminds her of the time when she and her sisters are happy, and to her surprise, both Kazuki and Nico are at the same hotel. Just then, Yu arrives and scolds them for not knowing each other's schedules, and not knowing that they are all in the same area. So Yu books one room for all of them to stay together, which is their chance to rebuild their sisterhood. Moreover, Yu plans to take them to the Sakura Festival, the same one from their childhood photos. The girls are angry at the idea, saying they don't have time for something so stupid. But when Yu mentions the temple where many professionals come to pray for luck, the girls fold and agree. Later, they all go to the most famous yukata and kimono shop, and even the owner is speechless seeing the Mikadono sisters walk into her store. Everyone gets outfits matching their personality, from Kazuki with elegance, and Miwa with cuteness. But Nico is still undecided. She remembers wanting something girly once, but her father stopped her and ordered her to stay a tomboy. Since then, she has stopped choosing what she really likes. The owner suggests a blue yukata with a bold pattern, while Yu thinks Nico suits a pink, soft-patterned one, because that's who she really is. Yu's words surprise Nico and she ends up choosing his option, which fits her so perfectly that it amazes everyone. Then, at the festival, Yu already has a map of what they should try and visit. But because Kazuki is popular, she instantly gets surrounded by fangirls who notice her. Yu is already stressed out, and he wants tonight to be about the sisters alone. Behind him, Miwa and Nico decide to play catch the fish while waiting for Kazuki, who is too busy being a prince for her fans. Even when one of them falls, Kazuki catches her and helps her take a seat. Yu watches as Kazuki handles everything with a smile on her face, and when she is finally done pleasing everyone, Yu immediately grabs her hand and hides behind the bushes, saving her from her fans for a moment. He notices that Kazuki's walk is a bit odd, so he wants to check her feet, and like he suspected, Kazuki has a rash on her feet because of the shoes. While he treats Kazuki's feet, he tells her that it's okay to be a princess sometimes, which makes her flustered. Meanwhile, Miwa laughs at how seriously Nico tries to catch the fish, only to keep failing. When Yu joins them, he gives Kazuki a mask so no one will notice her for a while, so now they can finally have a moment together. Miwa teases Kazuki to keep wearing the mask from now on, and behind that cover, Kazuki smiles. Then they all play with the fish, but their competitive nature never rests for long, and they end up fighting a little along the way. Taking the opportunity, he slips away to prepare the next surprise event for them. He makes his way to the festival's main attraction, a competition where participants must cross a pond by stepping on floating lotus leaves, with the winner receiving unbeatable competitor's luck, and a commemorative photo with the shrine's golden guardian. Yu knows this photo is precious to the sisters who once won the contest together years ago, and he vows to recreate that memory. But as the competition begins, chaos unfolds where one contestant after another tumbles into the water as the leaves sink unpredictably. The organizers watch in nostalgia, recalling how the three sisters once cleared the challenge with grace and unity. When Yu's turn comes, he too falls repeatedly, but unlike the others, he refuses to quit. As the sky darkens and rain begins to pour, Yu continues trying, ignoring exhaustion and soaked clothes. His persistence draws concern from the onlookers, and even the judges offer him a win by default, but he declines. Remembering how the sisters once worked together to succeed, Yu envisions their teamwork, their laughter, their drive, and charges forward once more. This time, against all odds, he makes it across. The crowd erupts in applause, and the organizers declare him the winner. They prepare the prize photo, but Yu asks them to wait so he can bring the sisters to share in the moment. But when he returns to find them, the festival is already closing due to the heavy rain. The grounds are empty, and realization hits him that he's failed as their self-appointed festival organizer. He blames himself for being selfish, for focusing on winning instead of spending time with them. But then, through the curtain of rain, 3 umbrellas appear. It's Nico, Miwa, and Kazuki, all standing over him, shielding him from the downpour. Yu is stunned that they didn't leave, and they tell him gently that they'd never abandon him. Kazuki calls him their conductor, urging him to keep leading them through the festival, and her words rekindle his spirit. They return to the hotel together. The girls gather around Yu, and as they all try to share their umbrella, they end up shoving it at him at the same time, which makes them mad. So they decide to play rock, paper, scissors, and Nico wins, earning the right to walk back to the hotel with Yu. Back at the hotel, they enjoy the hot springs. Nico can't stop thinking about how close she is to Yu, but then she suddenly realizes that her own assets aren't as developed as she hopes. Kazuki and Miwa are both surprised by what she is doing, and they think Nico is finally trying to embrace her feminine side. But then they remember they are each bigger than Nico in the best ways, so there is no need to worry about that. After finishing their bath, the girls find Yu again, his body covered in mud and rain. They ask why he is still outside like that, and it turns out that Yu has forgotten to book a room for himself. Now every hotel nearby is fully booked, so he plans to stay at the nearest internet cafe. The girls are shocked at how stupid he can be for being too focused on their festival to think about himself. So Kazuki tells him to stay in their room for the night, and he sleeps on the extra bed. Now the 4 of them are in one room, and they can all feel Yu's presence from a small gesture like facing each other by accident. Bumping shoulders with Miwa or reaching for a robe near Nico makes them blush like fools in love. Meanwhile, Yu doesn't notice anything and just goes straight to the bath. None of the girls can sleep with Yu in the same room, but they keep insisting and lying to themselves that it is only because they are excited for tomorrow's tournament and show. Meanwhile, Yu is happy with his own achievement, after managing to give the girls a new picture with the same trophy as 10 years ago. He is about to compare it with the old photo, but it is gone from his bag, and the only thing left is a note that says that the owner got the picture. Knowing that the photo has been returned to its owner, Yu can finally sleep in peace. Later that night, while Yu is fast asleep, the girls are still awake. For the first time, they talk about the festival, from how excited Kazuki is catching fish, how well Nico fits in that pink kimono, and how happy Miwa looks choosing her own. They remember how they used to play together and realize how little they have talked as they grow older. They begin to wonder why Yu cares so much about making them get along again, especially Miwa, who is secretly the one who owns the picture. Days later, ever since the festival, the sisters have begun to get along again. Yu is happy and wants to make a special dinner for them. But when he gets back home, the room is filled with a cold aura from the man sitting in front of the girls, who is their father. The girls talk about their achievements to him as if reporting business progress, and after hearing the results, their father stands up ready to leave. Yu stops him and asks if he wants to stay for dinner, but the man's reaction is cold. He sees the mask they got from the festival, and his expression turns even grimmer. He accuses Yu of trying to cloud his daughter's minds with a mere festival and empty prayers for hope, saying that it is useless after how he has raised his children to be tough and unbeatable through their own hard work. Then he adds that he has already checked Yu's background, and despite being the son of a top actress, Yu is a useless doormat with no real skills to be proud of. The man breaks the mask and, with a cold heart, tells Yu there is no room in his house for a pathetic human like him. But the girls immediately stop their father and say that Yu is useful in the house. He supports them in his own way, and because of that, they can focus better on their work. For that reason, they don't want Yu to leave. With no choice, the father accepts Yu only because the girls ask for it. But he expects them to stop wasting time and focus solely on their careers. That night, after what happened, Yu ends up eating dinner alone again. A week later, he realizes that the reason the girls are so relentless is because of their father, who has forced them to become this way. Back at school, Nico stays late for practice, and without Yu's cooking, she feels depressed with how plain the food she is eating is. It is the same for Kazuki and Miwa, and they all miss how Yu always makes something warm and special for them. As for Yu, he still remembers how the girls' father told him to step back and stop being a burden, while all he wants is to make them a real family again. He wants to give up, but then he remembers this is also his mother's dream, so he can't just let it go. The next day, Yu starts preparing lunch boxes for the girls without them knowing. He makes each lunch match the girls' personal taste, and when they find them in their bags, they are all touched, especially Nico, who feels her heart warming up. When they come home and Yu sees the lunch boxes empty, he is quietly happy. Later that night, the girls call Yu for a short meeting. Kazuki brings up their father's words about kicking him out, so to let him stay in the house, Yu has to contribute by helping them. Hearing them ask for his help directly makes Yu happy, as his job as the house husband is back. At Kazuki's studio, she is trying on a long wig and practicing acting more feminine before the others come in, and she quickly takes it off. Meanwhile, Nico is in her daily practice when her senior calls, telling her about the upcoming tournament and wanting to meet her again. As for Miwa, her teacher asks whether she has already made her decision about her future, and he pushes her to make that decision. On their walk home, they all face their own turmoils. Kazuki gets her first audition as a main female lead, even though she always plays the prince. Nico has to face her senior in the next tournament. Miwa wonders if she truly wants to aim for the shogi title, and everything they do is to meet the expectations of their father. But when they get home, they see Yu busy making udon for dinner, and when he slips, it eases their stress. Then, when they eat it, it tastes like a simple dish. But while it is simple, they feel the comfort behind it. After dinner, Kazuki suddenly offers to help Yu wash the dishes. Yu is instantly shocked, and Kazuki quickly explains that she needs to practice her feminine side for the audition. Then, she notices Yu's fingers wrapped in bandages. Yu says it is because he is clumsy, but Kazuki can already see his determination, even if he is reckless. When he tries to lift a pile of plates, he loses his balance. Kazuki, startled, rushes toward him, but she slips on a pair of chopsticks and falls, crashing her lips against Yu's, and they accidentally kiss. Yu immediately apologizes while Kazuki plays it cool, saying it is an accident and doesn't count, before quickly leaving the room. The next day, Nico wonders if it will rain since the sky is gloomy outside. Kazuki turns on the television to check the weather, but the first thing on screen is a romantic kissing scene. She instantly turns it off, telling Nico to check her phone instead. Later, when Miwa gets home, she eats her jellies, saying they feel like chewing soft lips, and that triggers Kazuki again. Then, Yu walks into her room and brings up the kiss. He admits he is ashamed and tells Kazuki to just forget it, as if it never happened. But that request only makes Kazuki furious. At the studio while practicing, Kazuki still tries to act naturally feminine, but she doesn't know how. She tries learning from her co-star who plays the princess, but when she finally gets into character, the memory of the kiss surfaces and ruins her focus. Her coach tells her not to let personal issues cloud her acting, and she needs to settle them. So, to resolve everything, the second she gets home, she aggressively confronts Yu and asks him to go on a date with her. Meanwhile, both Nico and Miwa see everything, thinking it is a real date, and they immediately run into Nico's bedroom before Kazuki can explain. Kazuki says that the date is part of her training for her audition, as she has never played a female role before, so she needs to learn how to act sweetly. Hearing that, Yu agrees to help. To make it realistic, he promises to treat it as a real date, just like a couple would, and Kazuki blushes at Yu's serious face. On Saturday, Nico tries to test Yu's honesty. She asks if he has any plans for Sunday, and he says no, but Nico sees through that lie, and her mind is already racing, imagining what he will do with Kazuki. Miwa also grows anxious after hearing that Yu has promised her sister a perfect date. Even during dinner, both Nico and Miwa can't stop thinking about it, and when the day arrives, Nico and Miwa follow not far behind Yu. Then Kazuki appears wearing the wig from her studio, looking gorgeous, and all eyes turn to her. Yu freezes, stunned, while the other sisters bite their tongues to hold back their squeals. Yu praises how beautiful she looks, and Kazuki, still awkward, almost slips into her usual prince persona before catching herself. Their first stop is the aquarium, with Nico and Miwa tailing them closely. On the stairs, Kazuki acts like a prince again, but Yu quickly corrects her. At the dolphin show, Kazuki tries too hard to act cute, and Yu tells her to relax, just as the dolphin splashes water all over them. Kazuki instinctively shields Yu, but her dramatic gesture draws even more attention from the crowd. Later, when Yu goes to the restroom, Kazuki sits alone feeling like a failure. She thinks she has ruined the date Yu has worked so hard to plan, but then a man from a talent agency approaches her. Kazuki refuses politely, but he insists and grabs her hand. In that moment, Yu steps in to stop him, and the man assumes Yu is her brother, but Yu declares that they are clapping and walks away. When the man keeps following, saying Kazuki can become a model, Yu blurts out that he and Kazuki are going to get married and have a happy family. The entire crowd hears him, and Kazuki's face turns bright red, already imagining the babies, while the man backs off and leaves. Yu apologizes and takes her hand again, leading her to their next stop, while Nico and Miwa are shocked at what the fudge just happened. At the mall, Yu is still holding Kazuki's hand, and since people think they are siblings, he holds her tighter to make it look more romantic. Then they go to the movie theater. Yu picks a romance film, and Kazuki realizes the lead actress is her senior, the one known for playing prince roles. Yu says it will be good for her to learn, but the film shows her senior still has the same habits from her theater days. When it ends, the audience calls her performance too plain, and it reminds Kazuki of her father's words that a genius actress can play both male and female leads, so she must not fail. Then, their final stop is the Ferris wheel. Someone nearby mentions a jinx that couples who ride it together will become real couples in the end. The three sisters freeze in shock, and Kazuki tries to warn Yu, but he quickly pulls her into one of the gondolas. Inside, Kazuki can't stop thinking about her audition, knowing that she has never been a natural girl. Even as a child, she kept her hair short and never wore cute clothes, but she never hated it. Her talent grows with her theater career until it becomes routine, where failure is not an option, so she wants to give up before the audition, afraid to fail again. Then she notices Yu trembling beside her and realizes that he is afraid of heights, but still forces himself to ride because he wants the date to be perfect for Kazuki's sake. She tells him to sit down before he tips the gondola. Kazuki has always thought Yu never achieves anything, but now she admires how he faces things despite failure. Yu says failure has its own value, and he shows her pictures of her awkward moments during the date, which embarrasses her, but she sees her natural smile, the feminine side she never knew she had. Yu believes that people may hate failure, but some will love you for it too. He knows that it sounds like something a weak person would say, but still Yu sincerely wishes for her audition to succeed. When they get off the Ferris wheel, Nico and Miwa are surprised to see Kazuki smiling so brightly. On the way home, Kazuki admits that she has always done what others expected, but now she wants to act freely as she wishes. Yu smiles and tells her to remember this date whenever she feels stuck, but Kazuki quickly lets go of his hand, saying this is just a one-time thing, then walks away. But in truth, it is Yu, the loser who has never achieved anything, who changes her perspective. She turns back, holds his face gently like she's going for a kiss, and whispers that the kiss they shared before is her first, and she refuses to forget it. Behind them, the two sisters tense up, shocked by what they hear. At the end of the day, Kazuki takes off her wig, returns to her prince demeanor, and bids Yu goodbye. Miwa is glad Kazuki is back to normal, but Nico knows that after that day, everything has changed. When Yu returns home, Miwa and Nico greet him warmly. For the first time, they speak to him casually, and it makes Yu feel accepted, while the girls secretly wish he could take them on dates too. Days later, Yu and the girls head to school. Yu and Nico are frantically cramming for their upcoming exams, and Kazuki mocks them for their last-minute panic. But when she sees Yu leaning close to Nico, jealousy crosses both her and Miwa's faces, and for a brief moment, they almost wish they were as dumb as those two. Out of nowhere, a man rushes past Yu, and a woman cries out that her bag has been stolen. Yu, determined to be the hero, charges after the thief but ends up looking pathetic in the process. Before he can make a bigger fool of himself, Nico jumps in, cutting off the thief's escape. However, she quickly realizes that her opponent knows martial arts too, making him a real challenge. Yu worries for her safety, but Kazuki calmly assures him that Nico is basically Chuck Norris without the third leg. True to her words, Nico takes the thief down and retrieves the woman's bag, earning cheers from the onlookers. Yet, as she watches the crowd shower the woman with attention, a faint jealousy blooms in Nico's chest. She hides her injury, pretending to be fine, but Yu notices. Despite her resistance, he insists on treating her wound himself, and his warmth makes her cheeks flush. Before they can relax, the thief suddenly scrambles up and bolts again, only to be stopped by a group of students from another school. Their leader, a tall, handsome boy named Tatsumi, floors the thief in one swift move. The crowd gasps, recognizing him as a national champion and martial arts prodigy. Nico and her sisters, however, recognize him as an old friend. When Nico meets his eyes, she calls him by his first name, shocking Yu. Tatsumi simply smiles and says he's come to get her. Later, Tatsumi and his crew visit Nico's dojo to train for the week. The dojo members, however, are puzzled to find Yu tagging along. Ever since he saw Tatsumi charming Nico earlier, Yu has refused to leave her side. The vice captain explains that Tatsumi and Nico go way back to their first dojo, but warns Yu that Tatsumi might spell trouble, as, unlike them, Tatsumi's looks attract girls like magnets. Then, out of the blue, Nico challenges Tatsumi to a sparring match, just like old times. Though reluctant to fight a girl, Tatsumi accepts after Nico insists she wants to show him how much she's improved. Her friends cheer her on, but Tatsumi's power proves overwhelming, and he defeats her easily, leaving everyone stunned. Frustrated, Nico demands a rematch, but Yu steps in, scolding Tatsumi for being too harsh. Tatsumi admits Yu has a point, but asks who he even is. Once things calm down, Nico tells Yu not to be rude, as Tatsumi is her hero. She explains that when she first joined a dojo, she beat every boy there, which made them jealous enough to corner her. Tatsumi was the one who stepped in and saved her, and from that day, she admired him. Tatsumi overhears and praises her skill before dropping a bombshell, that he wants Nico to join his team. When her friends remind him his academy is all boys, Tatsumi reveals it's now co-ed. He even claims to have spoken with her father, saying that if Nico truly wants to grow stronger, she needs to leave behind her weak companions. His bluntness stings, and her crew falls silent, realizing the truth in his words. Though Nico defends them, they admit they've held her back and tell her to go with Tatsumi. After school, Nico walks home with Yu, and he asks her how she feels about the offer. Nico admits Tatsumi's school sounds amazing, a perfect program built for champions. Yu is impressed, but Nico's heart feels heavy, as the thought of leaving her sisters and Yu makes her sad. Softly, she asks to speak honestly and confesses that she wants the two of them to stay together. Before Yu can respond, her teammates pop up, shouting that they want to stay together too, then dart off in embarrassment. Yu chuckles, saying even her crew doesn't want her to go. While she is touched, Nico feels disappointed that Yu never answered her confession. That evening at dinner, Nico is caught off guard when Kazuki suddenly offers her an expensive shampoo, something she's never shared before, and Miwa even gives her some of her food. Bewildered by their sudden kindness, Nico looks to Yu, who explains that once the school found out about Tatsumi's offer, the girls began spoiling her so she'd think twice about leaving. Nico is touched that her sisters care so much, but her thoughts drift back to Yu, whom she still doesn't know how he truly feels about her departure. The next day, during training, Nico faces Tatsumi again. In front of everyone, she boldly declares that she will not be transferring to his school. Her team erupts with joy, but Tatsumi's smile fades. Furious, he demands she stop wasting her potential with these weak bums. Nico stands firm, saying she wants to find her own path to greatness. Tatsumi glares, asking what changed her into such a soft, ordinary girl. Flustered, Nico's thoughts flash to Yu and her sisters, making her cheeks blush. Before she can reply, Tatsumi sneers that she's throwing away her talent for a normal, boring life. The words sting until Yu suddenly bursts out of a locker, unwilling to let anyone insult her. He strides up to Tatsumi and declares that he'll prove Nico belongs with him instead. With fierce determination, Yu challenges Tatsumi to a duel, and the winner gets to keep Nico at their school. Yu says he wants to be with her and will do anything to win. Nico blushes at his boldness, though everyone else worries for him, as Tatsumi is stronger, faster, and far more skilled, despite packing smaller. However, the vice captain reminds them that Yu is the son of Subaru, and that name alone makes Tatsumi tense up for a moment. Still, Tatsumi stays confident, and Yu refuses to back down, vowing that he'll be the one by Nico's side. Back home, Nico begins training Yu herself, with her hopes right on him now. She starts with stepping drills, but instead of proper boxing steps, Yu starts dancing, making her sigh, but let it slide. Nico warns him that Tatsumi's deadliest weapon is his kicks, so Yu will need to close the distance fast. He tries charging in and gets knocked down immediately. Then they take a break, and though bruised, Yu insists he won't give up. He may be weaker, but what matters most is keeping Nico with him. His sincerity makes her blush until he ruins the moment by including her sisters in his reason. Still, he admits he's grown to love sending them off every morning, and now he wants Nico to open up to him. Pressing her gently against the wall, he urges her to speak honestly. Flustered, Nico confesses that she's come to enjoy those mornings too and doesn't want to leave. Just as the air grows tense, Kazuki and Miwa pop out, caught eavesdropping, and quickly offer to help Yu train. Elsewhere, Tatsumi opens a sealed letter from Yu regarding his challenge, and inside it states that Tatsumi is forbidden from using his dominant limbs. Since he's already accepted, he's bound to the rule. After training ends, Yu and Nico are stunned to find Kazuki and Miwa wearing aprons, both announcing their desire to help Yu however they can. Touched by their enthusiasm, Yu gladly accepts until he and Nico discover that their cooking is the equivalent of salt-based junk cooking. Crushed by their culinary failure, Kazuki and Miwa sulk until Yu offers to teach them. They act reluctant, but Yu pulls Nico in, claiming they both want to try their cooking. Encouraged, the two agree, and Yu begins with the basics by showing them how to boil vegetables properly. He praises Kazuki's quick grasp of recipes, making her blush. Then he helps Miwa learn how to peel vegetables safely, and when she accidentally calls him Sir, she turns red with embarrassment. Throughout the process, Yu admires how two prodigies like them can still humble themselves to learn something new. Eventually, they create a flawless Thai dish, a stark contrast to their earlier censored disaster. Nico instantly recognizes it as her favorite meal and realizes they made it for her. When she tastes how good it is, her genuine praise brings joy to Kazuki and Miwa. When Yu tries to eat, however, he finds his hand too strained from training to move. Seeing this, Miwa instinctively feeds him, ignoring the other's stares. Yu compliments the taste, making Miwa beam with pride. Not to be outdone, Kazuki does the same. And when Yu praises her as well, both girls glow, realizing how good it feels to serve others with kindness, while Nico can only watch in frustration. The next day, the duo continues fussing over Yu during training, annoying Nico. She insists the session should end, but when Yu says he wants to keep going, her competitiveness reignites and she joins in. The following day at school, Tatsumi ponders how Nico transformed from a strength-obsessed fighter into someone unwilling to follow him. When she appears, he coldly accuses her of hiding behind others to mask her indecision, then warns that once he defeats Yu, she'll have no choice but to join his school. Later during training, Nico praises Yu's improving strength, but her expression fades as Tatsumi's words echo in her mind. She suddenly apologizes, blaming herself for dragging Yu into her problems. She confesses that both Tatsumi and her father have only ever pushed her to be stronger, never understanding her desire to be feminine too. Torn between those sides, she grew indecisive and convinced herself she wasn't cute. However, Yu reassures her, reminding her that it was his decision to challenge Tatsumi and that she's been more feminine than she realizes. When he admits that he once thought of her as a monster, but now sees someone gentle and beautiful who even admires flowers, Nico blushes furiously. Yu continues, saying there's nothing weird about her and that she's both strong and beautiful. Overwhelmed, Nico punches him and curls up to the overwhelming Riz, admitting that he's the only one who ever says such things to her. She then asks for his help in overcoming her indecision, and Yu suggests they face Tatsumi together. Nico thinks he means a 2-on-1, but Yu already has a plan. On the day of the match, Kazuki and Miwa can barely focus on their own activities, as their minds are fixed on Yu's upcoming fight. In the dojo, everyone is stunned when Yu challenges Tatsumi to 2 fights, one with him, the other with Nico. He explains that if either of them wins, Nico won't have to join Tatsumi's school. Though the crowd views him as pathetic for it, Yu insists he doesn't care, as long as he protects Nico, making her blush. He vows to weaken Tatsumi for her sake, but Nico notices his trembling hands. She grabs them and smacks him lightly, encouraging him to fight. Fired up, Yu declares he will win like Gojo, only to end up on the floor a minute later defeated. Like Gojo as well, but no one is surprised, knowing he's trained only for a week. Now it's Nico's turn, and watching Yu's growth gives her strength. She steps forward, determined to fight for everyone she cares about. When Yu tells her he'll be waiting for her at home, she finds the clarity she needs. The fight begins, and Nico goes on the offensive, staying close to neutralize Tatsumi's kicks, but he blocks everything. Then he counters with a gut punch that drops her, as Tatsumi knows every move she's ever made. Her next attack gets countered again, putting Tatsumi 1 point from victory. As the crowd watches in despair, Nico feels powerless. Tatsumi tells her to give up and come with him, and Nico starts to agree, until Yu starts a ridiculous cheer with her team, breaking her tension. Laughing through her frustration, Nico remembers Yu's words and embraces her full self. Tatsumi instantly senses something different. When she attacks again, he anticipates a punch but takes a kick instead, a move Nico has never used. She presses on, mixing unpredictable strikes that leave even her team in awe, And for the first time, Yu notices she's smiling while fighting. Her new style earns her 2 points, tying the match. Tatsumi accuses her of pretending to be someone she's not, but Nico leaps in for her final move, one that embodies her true self. Just then, her sisters enter the dojo and witness her landing the decisive hit, winning the fight. The room erupts in celebration as the undefeated Tatsumi falls. Overwhelmed, Nico looks toward Yu, blushing with gratitude. He hands her a towel and gently helps her wipe her sweat, welcoming her back. Tears spill down her cheeks, embarrassed yet proud, as she buries her face in Yu's shoulder, allowing herself to cry in victory for the first time. Before leaving, Tatsumi is stopped by Nico, who bows her head and apologizes for how the duel ended. She admits that she finally understands he only ever wanted what was best for her. Though the loss stings, Tatsumi smiles faintly and keeps his promise not to pressure her into joining his school. When Nico also apologizes for Yu's lackluster performance, Tatsumi lifts his pant leg to reveal a nasty bruise, the same spot Yu had kept targeting. He explains that Yu's persistence is what stopped him from dodging her finishing move. Nico tries to apologize again, but Tatsumi shakes his head, saying Yu fought because he genuinely cares for her. Then, his tone shifts and flustered, Tatsumi confesses that the real reason he wanted her at his school was because he likes her. Nico accepts it as friendly affection, but when he clarifies that his feelings are romantic, her face turns red. When she asks how long he's felt that way, Tatsumi admits it began the day she joined the dojo. Ever since he's wanted to stay by her side, but now, seeing her here, he knows her heart belongs to someone else. The boy at her school. The realization hits Nico like lightning. As Tatsumi bids her good luck and walks away, her thoughts drift to Yu. His warm smile and effortless charm refuse to leave her mind. For the first time, she admits to herself that she wants something more than friendship with him. That evening, Nico walks home alone, wondering where everyone had disappeared to, but when she steps inside, she's met with loud cheers, as Yu and the others have thrown her a surprise victory party to celebrate her win. Nico notices the bruises and bandages on Yu's hands. When she scolds him for overexerting himself, Yu shrugs it off, but she gently takes his hands, telling him to be more careful. To thank him for everything, Nico insists he ask for anything he wants, and suddenly Yu's mischievous grin appears and sends Nico's imagination spiraling, thinking of a slimy pickle. In her head, she pictures him seducing her with fiery charisma, and she yelps in panic. The others rush in, misreading the situation, and loudly declare that they'll also do anything Yu asks, but instead of anything crazy, Yu simply says he wants to take everyone to the theme park. The girls, expecting something more dramatic, feel disappointed. Yu explains that it's been his dream to visit a theme park with his family, and the word makes the sisters blush as they imagine what the day will feel like. Just then, Nico's phone rings and her father's calling, but Yu boldly takes the phone and tells him that the sisters deserve a break from their constant training and that working nonstop isn't healthy. Her father demands to speak to Nico, and when she finally does, he praises her for defeating Tatsumi, one of the strongest fighters in the country. Impressed, he says there's no need for her to transfer schools after all. Curious about her sudden growth, he recalls Yu's influence and, surprisingly, agrees to grant them the break Yu requested, and hearing that, Nico tells everyone the trip is officially on. Over the next few days, the sisters are all nerves and excitement. Each debates what to wear, how to act, and how to win Yu's attention during what they secretly consider a group date. When Sunday arrives, Yu is the first to reach the park. Miwa appears behind him and playfully covers his eyes, which he immediately guesses are hers. She beams, proud of her casual outfit, thinking her practical style will outshine her sister's frilly choices. But then Kazuki arrives dressed like a model, stunning Miwa into disbelief. She scolds her for wearing something so fancy to an amusement park, but Yu's sincere compliment makes Kazuki blush deeply. Finally, Nico arrives and everyone stops in awe. Dressed elegantly, she looks like a completely different person. When asked about her transformation, Nico shyly says she just wanted to try something new, and Yu's gentle praise leaves her pink-faced. With everyone assembled, they begin their day, but none of the girls know that Yu's real goal is to make happy memories together. Meanwhile, the sisters quietly vow to use this trip to turn the tables and romance him instead. Their first stop is Kazuki's idea, the haunted house, and she plans to act scared and cling to Yu for protection, but the moment the ghosts appear, she gets too caught up admiring the makeup artistry to remember her plan. By the time she looks back, she finds Yu on the floor, and the next jump scare sends him clinging to her, apologizing for being scared. Completely caught off guard, Kazuki melts on the spot. When they exit, the others see Yu riding on her back and assume she succeeded in flustering him. But his words of gratitude make it clear she's the one who folded. Determined not to make the same mistake, Miwa takes Yu to the roller coaster, insisting he sit beside her. She plans to act frightened and let him comfort her afterward, except when the ride ends, she discovers Yu sprawled on a bench, pale and trembling. He sheepishly admits he's terrified of roller coasters. However, Yu says that even though it scared him, he's glad he got to ride with her, and the sincerity in his voice turns her to mush. Wanting to comfort him, She lets him rest his head on her lap, blushing as he thanks her warmly. Last up is Nico. She takes Yu to the spinning teacups, plotting to control the wheel so she'll accidentally lean into him. But when they start, Yu spins it at full speed. And instead of her leaning on him, he leans on her. As the cup whirls faster, he tumbles toward her, their faces nearly touching, before he falls completely into her arms. Nico's heart races, but once again, she's left defeated. Afterward, the girls treat Yu to food, hoping to regain the upper hand, but somehow he ends up charming them all instead. Effortlessly, innocently, and completely unintentionally. By the time the park closes, none of them have managed to fluster him even once. Then they see Yu quietly admiring a family taking photos together. Realizing his true intent was simply to feel that same warmth, Nico gathers everyone for a commemorative picture. When Yu thanks them sincerely for spending the day with him, the sisters express their gratitude in return, thanking him for changing their lives and bringing them happiness. Hearing their heartfelt words, Yu's composure breaks, and he blushes harder than ever before. The sisters exchange looks, realizing Yu is actually easy to charm when it's genuine. On the train ride home, everyone drifts off to sleep, the day's laughter still lingering in the air. Miwa wakes briefly, gazing at her family with a soft smile. But as her next shogi match looms in her mind, she silently wishes this peaceful, ordinary happiness could last just a little longer. Some days later, in the kitchen, Yu notices Miwa's forgotten lunchbox. Knowing how much she looks forward to his cooking, he decides to bring it to her. On his way, he spots a striking girl walking while reading a book, only to run headfirst into a pole and continue like nothing happened. Concerned she might hurt herself, Yu follows to make sure she doesn't walk into a construction zone. When she finally notices him, she asks who he is, unaware that he just saved her from another accident. Yu quickly offers her a healthy candy to help with the heat before heading off. She then takes out the same candy and smiles, impressed. Yu arrives at the shogi venue where Miwa is competing. He's mesmerized by how composed and focused she looks during her match. A nearby spectator comments that Miwa is losing, but Yu stays quiet, respecting her concentration. Suddenly, during her opponent's move, Miwa licks her lips, a gesture that the observer says is her signature move before victory. Sure enough, moments later, Miwa's opponent forfeits, giving her the win. Yu rushes over to congratulate her, praising how cool she looked, which makes her blush. Embarrassed, Miwa admits she doesn't like being called cool. She pulls Yu aside to avoid disturbing the others and asks why he came. When he reveals her lunchbox, she's surprised she forgot it, and he explains that he added her favorite side dishes for extra energy. As he's about to leave, Miwa gives him her puppy-eyed look and asks him to join her for lunch. He agrees and goes to buy food for himself. Suddenly, the girl from earlier appears and snatches Miwa's lunch. She accuses Yu of being the cause of Miwa's decline in performance. When Miwa grabs her lunch back, the girl remarks that the old Miwa wouldn't care about something so trivial. Introducing herself as Sakura, she declares that she's Miwa's eternal rival. Impressed, Yu calls her awesome for being able to compete with Miwa. Sakura proudly accepts the compliment, but Miwa reminds her that she's never once beaten her. Sakura admits their difference in skill, but points out that Miwa has changed, and that the greatest shogi player of their time should never appear so vulnerable. Miwa blushes, and Yu senses that beneath her bravado, Sakura truly respects Miwa. Sakura then vows to end Miwa's era, determined to study her until she can win. Sakura ends up joining them for lunch to observe Miwa, annoying Miwa. Then Sakura opens her own lunchbox, revealing a questionable dish she insists is an omelet. Suddenly, a dog barks, startling her and causing her to toss her rice ball. She chases it, and Yu tries to help, but they slip and end up in a plotful position. When Sakura meets his eyes, she's caught off guard by his handsome face. Miwa watches, fuming, as Sakura slaps Yu, flustered, saying she can't lose focus before her big match. Miwa sighs at how ridiculous they both are and realizes they're equally clumsy. Sakura quickly regains her composure, declaring that she needs to prepare for the next match. Yu chuckles, happy to see Miwa surrounded by people instead of being isolated. He tells her how cute she looks when she acts like this, which makes her blush, and she denies being Sakura's friend. Sakura argues they're rivals, but Miwa refuses to recognize someone like her as one, sparking another heated exchange. A few days later, Yu wakes up early and finds Kazuki and Nico already up. He tells them he's heading to a shrine to pray for Miwa's success. Though they pretend to have other reasons for being awake, they decide to join him. When they arrive, they see Sakura praying as well, and she's startled to see Yu accompanied by the legendary Mikadono sisters. Sakura admits she relies on prayer since she lacks Miwa's natural genius, and the sisters are surprised to see how many prayer slips she's written for her own victory. When Sakura asks how Yu knows them, he explains that he supports the sisters to help them stay on track. Hearing this, Sakura becomes angry, declaring that someone without talent shouldn't live just to serve others. She says that, like him, she lacks talent, but unlike him, she refuses to accept being a sidekick. She'll live as the hero of her own story, no matter what. She storms off dramatically, only to immediately slip and fall. Yu helps her up but slips again himself, landing awkwardly on top of her. Sakura's flustered once more, but Yu chuckles and tells her they're more alike than she thinks, making her blush again while Kazuki and Nico furiously pray for her downfall out of jealousy. Finally, the long-awaited match between Miwa and Sakura begins. Yu watches intently while others assure him that Miwa will easily win this best-of-5 match. But to everyone's shock, after hours, Miwa forfeits, granting Sakura the first victory. Yu panics, wanting to comfort her, but the sisters advise him to act casual, though they're clearly upset themselves. That night, Yu cooks a special dinner to lift Miwa's spirits, but she politely declines, saying she needs to prepare for her next match, and smiles while saying it. Later, during her late-night training, Miwa runs out of snacks, only to find protein bars and supplements left by Kazuki and Nico. Subtle gestures of their support. To her surprise, Yu also appears, presenting her with a dessert he made just for her. He pours hot chocolate over a round shell, revealing a vanilla ice cream shaped like her favorite animal, a cat. Miwa's eyes light up as Yu tells her to enjoy it with a smile. Encouraged and inspired, she eats it happily, determined to defeat Sakura in the second game. But during her second match against Sakura, Miwa suffers another loss. Yu rushes to the venue, unable to believe it. He recalls that the first to win 3 games takes the championship, meaning Sakura now needs just one more victory to claim the series. When the match ends, Sakura approaches Yu with a smug smile, declaring that Miwa is finished. She brags about achieving the impossible, defeating the almighty Miwa. Twice in a row, something no one has ever done before. Calling Miwa washed up, Sakura mocks her for relying too much on talent instead of hard work. Yu glares at her like he wants to rob her kidneys, but to her surprise, he thanks her. Confused, Sakura demands to know what he means. Yu explains that he understands her true message, and behind her harsh words, she wants him to return home and encourage Miwa so she can bring her best self to the final matches, knowing that Sakura is also a fan of Miwa, even if she won't admit it. Blushing furiously, Sakura denies it, but Yu smiles knowingly, thanking her again for caring in her own way. As he walks off, he warns her never to underestimate Miwa, which she hopes is right. When Yu returns home, he's met with Kazuki and Nico on the couch, looking completely defeated. They tell him that Miwa stormed out of the house not long ago, as when they tried to comfort her and remind her that failure isn't the end, she lashed out, saying she isn't like them. The sisters think she just doesn't want to hear advice from people who aren't as skilled as she is, but Yu, sensing something deeper, immediately runs out to find her. He finally locates her at a cat cafe, calmly playing with the cats. Surprised that he found her, Miwa asked how he knew she was there. Yu admits he expected her to be outside sulking in the rain, so he's relieved to see her doing okay. He sits beside her and asks if she comes here often. Miwa nods, explaining that Kazuki is allergic to cats, and their house is far too messy to keep pets, so she comes here to relax. Seeing her smile again, Yu feels reassured that she's not giving up. But then, Miwa buries her face into a cat and mutters that she's a fraud. She confesses that, unlike most shogi players, she's never dedicated her life to the game. She only started playing because her family praised her when she won, and she wanted something that was hers alone, just as Kazuki had acting and Nico had martial arts. When she asked her sisters why they worked so hard, they said it was because they loved what they did. Miwa admits that she doesn't feel the same way about shogi, and she only kept playing to achieve something and to be admired. Hearing this, Yu finally understands why she said she's different from her sisters. Deep down, Miwa always knew the day would come when she'd lose, and that her defeat would expose her for what she really is as someone who never truly loved the game. Tears stream down her face as she speaks, and Yu gently comforts her, thanking her for trusting him with her real feelings. Then, in his usual teasing way, he tells her he's not letting her go home yet, making her think of something freaky. As they walk outside afterward, Miwa notices all the love hotels nearby and misreads the situation entirely, only to be disappointed when Yu leads her into a convenience store. He explains that Kazuki and Nico are feeling guilty, thinking they pushed her away, so he suggests making them some sweet treats as a peace offering. When he asks what they'd like, Miwa says Kazuki would prefer something bittersweet, while Nico would love a girly cupcake. Together, they browse the aisles, picking out ingredients, and Miwa knows exactly what to choose. Later, they head to the school's kitchen, and as they start baking, she asks Yu how he learned to cook so well. He opens up about his past when he used to distance himself from his mother for being talentless. One day, while making breakfast, she unexpectedly tried his cooking and told him it was delicious. That moment inspired him to take cooking seriously, and when she fell ill, he began preparing meals tailored to her dietary needs and became her personal cook while she was hospitalized, which brought them closer than ever before. Yu explains that just as he wanted to make his mother smile through his food, Miwa wanted to make her family proud through shogi. He says that there's nothing wrong with chasing greatness for the sake of someone you love, and his words make Miwa think of everyone she holds dear. Later that night, Yu dozes off in the kitchen. Remembering his kindness, Miwa's hand trembles as she reaches toward him, but stops herself. Instead, she crafts a tiny version of Yu out of leftover ingredients, whispers her thanks, and kisses the miniature. When they finally return home, Kazuki and Nico scold Yu for staying out so late. But Miwa steps in, apologizing on his behalf and explaining that he was helping her. She presents the treats they made, and the sisters are surprised and delighted by how delicious they are. Then, with a bashful smile, Miwa brings out a small pastry shaped like Yu and gives it to him as thanks. But when the sisters notice its oddly receding hairline, Miwa remembers kissing that exact spot repeatedly, and her face turns crimson. A week later, the third match arrives, but this time, Miwa feels calm and confident. Just then, Yu and the sisters arrive, rallying behind Miwa and urging her to reclaim her title. To their astonishment, Miwa says she no longer cares about being champion. When they press her for an explanation, she keeps quiet, leaving them puzzled about what's going through her mind, unaware that her new reason for competing mirrors Yu's own, which is making those around her happy, especially him. When she steps into the competition room, Sakura immediately senses from the devastating aura that this isn't the same Miwa she beat before, but it's the old Miwa, the prodigy who once ruled the shogi world with her unmatched dominance. And the sight brings Sakura back to her past. In her earliest memories, Sakura is a clumsy girl who no one wants to play with, always left alone to play with John Cena. One day, her mother takes her to visit her grandparents, and her grandfather, hoping to cheer her up, invites her to play shogi, pretending he's sad because no one wants to play with him either, which she empathizes with. At first, Sakura doesn't understand the game and even hates the rook, calling it the weakest piece on the board. But her grandfather explains that while the rook may be weak, it's the only one that never stops moving forward no matter the odds. Those words inspire Sakura, as the rook reminds her of herself, and she begs him to teach her how to play. In merely a week, Sakura surpasses her grandfather's skills and begins entering tournaments. She wins match after match, collecting trophies and finally finding her place in the world. But then, her path brings her to face Miwa, the prodigy, and the difference between them is devastating, as Miwa crushes her effortlessly, leaving Sakura broken. For the first time, she feels the hopeless gap between talent and effort. Later, while in class, a few girls mock Sakura for her poor grades, calling her brain only good for shogi and dumb for everything else. But Miwa suddenly appears, roasting the bullies and humiliating them, saying they must be jealous losers. She then turns to scold Sakura for not standing up for herself, only to find her crying. Sakura feels pathetic for crying in front of the person who destroyed her, realizing that Miwa doesn't even see her as a rival. But to her surprise, Miwa praises her for using her pawns in a way she's never seen before, calling it unique and brilliant. Those words remind Sakura of her grandfather's lesson about pawns always pushing forward. Reinvigorated, she declares herself Miwa's rival with fiery conviction, while Miwa, on the other hand, immediately regrets starting that conversation with this weird chick. Now, years later, Sakura finally stands across from Miwa as her equal. The match begins, and the audience watches in awe as the two go head-to-head, perfectly matched. In the middle of the battle, Miwa suddenly performs her signature move, a quick lick of her lips, and advances her pawn just like she did years ago, catching Sakura off guard and defeating her. Then, in the next game, Miwa claims the fourth game, evening the score with one final match remaining. At home, the others wait anxiously after Miwa had ordered them not to attend, wanting to face this battle alone. As she competes in the last game, everyone else goes about their day, though each silently vows not to fall behind her determination. Hours later, Miwa emerges victorious, retaining her championship title. Reporters rush to interview her, but she spots Yu in the crowd and heads straight for him. To her surprise, Yu starts tearing up and she gently calms him. With a warm, radiant smile, he congratulates her, and his joy reflects every moment he's ever smiled at her. Miwa tells him that's exactly what she wants to see, and softly reaches for his face. Then, just as the others arrive, they freeze in shock to see that Miwa is smooching Yu's forehead, exactly like she did to the treat with the chopped forehead. Realizing what she's done, Miwa steps back, flustered. But before anyone can react, a foreign couple approaches to congratulate her, and she replies fluently in English. Yu is amazed, and the sisters explain that Miwa once studied abroad. Miwa awkwardly claims the kiss earlier was simply a foreign way of thanking someone, teasing the others for being jealous over a little forehead kiss. The sisters, still flustered, congratulate her too. Feeling grateful, Miwa thanks them both with 2 quick kisses on their foreheads. Yu suggests taking a photo to commemorate the moment, and the 3 of them pose together with bright smiles. Meanwhile, Sakura watches from afar, but while she's the loser, she feels proud that Miwa finally sees her as a true rival. She glances at Yu among the talented sisters and wonders how someone like him fits among them. But that thought gives her hope that if someone ordinary like Yu can stand beside insane talents, then so can she. The next morning, life at the mansion returns to normal. Yu helps Kazuki make her morning smoothie, but when she tastes it, it's absolutely awful. He apologizes and goes to try it himself, but Kazuki, realizing it'd be an indirect kiss, quickly gulps it all down in a panic. Then Yu brings Nico fresh towels and she notices he changed the softener, something she quietly appreciates. When Yu casually says the towel is cute, Nico blushes, thinking that he called her cute. Later, Miwa runs out of snacks during practice, so Yu brings her pudding, but since she can't play while eating, he offers to spoon-feed her, making her flustered and shy. They all share breakfast together, laughing and chatting like a family. Yu feels that this moment, filled with warmth and smiles, is the kind of happiness his late mother always dreamed of. Just then, the sisters hurry off to practice, and Yu doesn't get to say goodbye, but to his surprise, they're waiting for him outside. Instead of him sending them off, they wave goodbye to him with glowing smiles. It hits Yu then that the happy family he's been searching for is right here with them. But later that night, Yu brings a surprise back home with him in the form of Sakura, who boldly declares that she's staying the night to study Miwa up close, preparing to defeat her in a future shogi rematch, adding another body to the harem. Comment down below, a talentless Chad and 3 talentless baddies if you watch till the end. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video.